Do you know what's better than one kind of cookie? Two kinds of cookies, that's what. So today I'm going to show you how to take my classic shortbread cookie. It's my favorite cookie. I've been making it since I'm like 13. And I'm going to show you how to spin it into two different cookies that nobody will ever know you've used the same recipe with a little bit of a twist. So the first step for our shortbread is to cream butter and sugar together. So I've got salted butter here. It's really important to use room temperature butter because when you're creaming you want to whip in as much air as possible, so you're not going to be able to do that if your butter's cold. Then I'm going to be using the Natura Golden caster sugar, which is this beautiful sandy fine texture, and that helps dissolve really quickly and bake, so it's great for things like sponge cakes and meringues even. And it's got a really nice light caramel flavor, so it adds so much more than just sweetness. Now we're going to cream. So you're probably really tired of hearing me say this, but you need to cream for at least 8 to 10 minutes. So put your mixer on and walk away. And I'm sorry, but if you've got a hand mixer, you're just gonna have to like plod on. Okay, so now everything's beautifully creamed. You can see the butter's gone nice and light. It's super fluffy. We're gonna add our dry ingredients, cake flour, and we've got some corn flour, which is going to, or maizena, which is going to make it nice and short and buttery and melt in your mouth. So there's nothing fancy here. We're just gonna add everything in. And a pinch of salt, sea salt here. And then we're gonna put the mixer on and mix it until it just comes together. Don't over mix it or we're gonna get it, it's gonna be tough. There we go. Okay, and we're done. So now we're gonna divide the dough into 2 and a half. 2, same thing. 2 and a half. This dough is so delicious to eat, by the way. So you might want to make extra to make up for the loss along the way. So I'm gonna divide in 2. And then we're gonna work with one piece of dough at a time. So the first one we're gonna use to make date-filled crescents, which have got some chocolate chips in the middle. And the second dough we're gonna use to make cardamom and white chocolate snowballs. So we're gonna make the chocolate date crescents first. So I'm gonna put this guy on the side. If it's a really hot day, then obviously wrap it, put it in the fridge. It's really cold today, so I'm gonna just put it aside for now. Okay. So I've already started making my date filling. I've taken medjool dates, pitted them, popped them in a pot with some water and some butter, and then cooked them down to this beautiful caramelly thick, oh it smells divine, kind of paste that we're going to use to make the filling. And then I'm just going to add some choc chips, some of my choc chips. I've allowed it to cool slightly because obviously if you add chocolate to something warm it's going to melt, and I actually want like those little pockets of sort of bitterness. The reason I'm not giving amounts for choc chips because you measure with your soul, obviously. Okay, so to make sure all my cookies are the same size, I'm going to weigh out the dough. I'm going to make each one 12 grams, I think. Yes. Obviously this is a little bit OCD, but you can totally skip this and go rogue. But I quite like the cookies to be all the same size. So I've just sort of roughly rolled them into balls just to make them a little bit easier to work with. But now we're going to flatten them out. You don't have to worry too much about a shape, just kind of an ovalish shape. And then we're going to take a small amount of the filling, let's say about a small kind of teaspoonful. Hey, don't escape chocolate chip. And then you roll it into like a little sausage. And then we put it in the middle, and then you're going to take the sides up and pinch them together around the filling. So it doesn't need to be too perfect, as long as you kind of encase the filling. A little bit squishes out, that's fine. No one's going to know because we're going to dust it in some icing sugar later. And then you're going to just roll it into like a sausage and taper the ends. So it looks like, what does it look like? A little wormy. And then form it into a crescent. And then you're going to repeat the rest. It's quite fun to do with kids, I think, because they'll enjoy making the little shapes and then eating them afterwards, of course. Okay, so that's my last one, and now we're going to put them on a baking sheet. You can line yours with baking paper if that's what you have. And then we're going to bake them at 160 degrees fan forced or 180 degrees conventional. About 10 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on them until they're nice, just golden brown around the outside. Okay, so I'm just rolling them in balls. And then I'm going to squish a white chocolate button, one of my white chocolate buttons, in the middle. Close it around. These are so good. The combination of the dates with the dark chocolate and the orange blossom water just makes them so moreish. And it makes such a great gift for friends or family. And it just shows you what you can do with one shortbread recipe. And obviously these are made with lots of love, but you can go so simple and just roll it out, cut out shapes and bake it, and it's still just as thoughtful. So don't forget, you can get the recipe on thekatetoon.com, and brand new, you can now buy Natura sugars on my online shop. So exciting! So you can make these cookies and live your best baking life. Repeat and repeat. So just take one dough. I'm just not gonna say anything else.